Hello, everybody. Welcome in this new show. We'll be with someone new, Pascal Treffainguy.
Salut Pascal.
Salut Remy.
Donc Pascal, pour ceux qui connaissent
Pascal, for the people who ignore
je
him,
l'ai rencontré,
I met him
virtuellement.
virtually
C'est parce qu'il avait commencé, il avait mis des commentaires, envoyé
because he
des messages
gave
pour me
commentaries and
des
sent me messages
messages que j'avais trouvés
under my videos
des
about crop
informations
circles, and I
que
was
j'avais
interested
découvert.
by his opinion.
Du coup, j'avais envie de creuser l'histoire avec
So I've decided
lui, voir un
to
peu ce
to know more things
qu'il pouvait nous apporter comme info
and be interested to know more
Donc voilà, pour
about
ceux
his
qui
opinion.
connaissent
For
bien,
people who ignore him, he has a YouTube channel, and we will begin slowly, only to ask him how he was and why he was interested by the crop circles.
Alors, qu'est-ce qui m'a amené à m'intéresser au crop circle?
So,
Alors, figure-toi que moi, je suis
Louis II,
Louis
the traductor of the Bible, was one of my ancestors, and my family is living both sides of the channel, in England, Cornwall, Wiltshire, when there is Stone Age, and the French Brittany, the Côte d'Armor. When I was a child, I was used to visit my family during the holidays because I was living at school generally, and my fathers wanted me to have experience outside. They could be tired of my presence. At the end of the 80s, my cousins in UK told me about the crop circles, and I had the opportunity to see one. Oh, so at this moment in time, you had the opportunity to see crop circles. Yes, I was in England. The first one I have seen was in '84. Oh, it's the year of my birth. Good beginning. The first one I have seen was a very little one and not so sophisticated like such ones we can see nowadays. Okay, is it that way that you discovered the phenomenon? The first crop circles and immediately you were interested, or you let the things go? No, I let the things roll on a lot of years. I was not very interested about knowing the origin. And a few years ago, one of my friends in the Freemasonry, 24 degree of the Scottish Rite, told me that I could be interested about the crop circles. This is something really serious, and this generates fears and panic at the secret offices. So my friend told me that the secret services were very embarrassed about the crop circles, and they were trying to cover the subject. That man was involved in the Freemasonry in a very high level, the 27th level, so I was really surprised. It was someone with a certain intellectual and social level, and the fact he could be interested by the subject gave me a kind of déclic in my mind. Before explaining us what kind of information you have about the crop circles, can you explain us how you get this information? I have a friend in Brazil, a female one. She's called Jocelyn, and she's a medium. And she told me in 2017 that Umberto Molinaro, a famous crop circle observer, will be probably involved in a kind of conspiracy against him. Sorry, in 2017? Yes, it was in 2017. And she told me that some crop circles will appear in Brazil and Canada. And she told me that there is a very important secret triangle from France to Brazil to Canada. And this is very important for the people talking French. And it's very strange because this is the three places where I live during the year. I live usually in Brazil because I have my close family there, and I have a house in Quebec, and I was used to live a few months in France every year. It's very interesting because this is absolutely the same information that Lulumineuse told us during a show, a video we realized. Lulumineuse is a famous French channeler, and during the information she received, she told us that there is something important between France, Canada, and Brazil. When I asked explanation to my friend Jocelyn, and she told me that it was linked with the 33 harmonic, and I gave you the information for Umberto. Hers have a kind of energetic belts all over the planet. They are located each 33 miles. And in that belt, you can observe that over 90% of the UFO phenomena and crop circles appear. This is a kind of energetic belt around the planet, around the Earth. I'm not used to use this kind of vocabulary because it sounds new age, but it could be called like a multidimensional door, connecting people with other realities, other times, and other places in the universe. There is few universes side by side. I had a conversation about this with Jean-Pierre Petit, a famous French astrophysician. And in fact, we can be sure that the crop circles and the operation of UFOs are only true when they appear in this belt of 33 harmonic. We can call them energetic forces or barriers, and they confer a possibility to travel by space or by time. Harmonic 33 was discovered by Captain Bruce. My cousin was a plane pilot and a captain, and he told me that he was usually in touch with UFOs phenomenon, and sometimes it's once a month. But he told me if I say something to someone, I will probably lose my job and stay in the company, but only for piloting or driving desks. Captain Bruce Cathy decided to communicate about the information he realized, and he wrote a lot of books about the harmonic 33 and discovered that this phenomenon was all over the world. During the end of the 50s and the beginning of the 60s, at the beginning of the atomic program in France, a lot of UFOs operations were observed, and the French gendarmerie realized a kind of protocol of contact, and they have contacted experts all over the world, and particularly this Captain Bruce Cathy. He gave to the French army the information about the harmonic 33. I gave you the information and the references of a movie realized in France talking about this phenomenon. So the French army decided with a private group to put some video recorders and other electronic matters to realize observation all over France territory at the point of junction of harmonic 33, where observed 60% of the observations of UFOs and crop circles. And suddenly, everything stopped because the French army decided to realize a cover-up and to stop to communicate or investigate about the subject. This strategy began first in Australia, where two veterans told in front of the camera that they were the authors. The same thing in Britain and after in France. This was a politic all over the world of the army to give no credit to the crop circles. Okay. I want to know more things about this triangle from Brazil to Canada to France. Because you are talking about harmonic 33, but harmonic 33 is all around the world. We are okay. Yeah, sure. It's all over the world. So what kind of information can you give us about this supposed triangle? So I'm stopping the interviews only to share with you a declic I had when I have decided to illustrate his talking. I found nothing on the internet, so I drew it myself on Google Earth, and I invite you to do the same thing and to see by yourself. This is something absolutely free. And drawing this triangle, I was surprised to discover that the way from France to Canada was crossing the Wiltshire when most of the crop circles appear. It's just genius. It's incredible. And this is absolutely what taught to us the intraterrestrian luminous channeled. She asked them why the crop circles are appearing only in Wiltshire, and the information given by the intraterrestrians was that France, Canada, and Brazil were deeply connected. At that time, it was something strange for me, and I did no commentary. But when I decided to draw this triangle, it was incredible how it was funny and easy to understand the importance of the Wiltshire. You can see the show I realized with Umberto Molinaro, where we were analyzing the importance of the Wiltshire for the UFOs and crop circles phenomenon. So I let Pascal going on. What is the connection from the harmonic 33 with this triangle? For me, there is a deeply connection with sacred geometry. If you consider Philippe Mario's teachings, you could understand. He could explain to you what is symbolically the existence of the four Israels in the sacred teachings. We have a mention of four Israel. The first one was the Egypt. The secret Egyptian gnosis was given to the Jews and brought to the kingdom of Judah, to Israel. And then after Jesus, this teaching was of the Kabbalah, was secret teaching of sacred geometry was transferred to France. And finally, when the great monarch will appear, Canada will be a secret center. So first you have the first Israel of Israel, the kingdom of Judah. Secondly, you add the French monarchy. The third Israel will be soon manifested and will be in Quebec with the great monarch. And finally, the first Israel will be Brazil, particularly in Brasilia, where Dom Bosco propheted something really interested that could be a kind of resurrection of the Egyptian philosophy, religion, and empire. The same thing were told by Chico Xavier. He was a famous Brazilian medium. He informed us by a channeling of spiritual beings and also intra and extraterrestrials that the North Hemisphere will be in the future quite completely destroyed, and the center of the civilization will be Brazil, the South Hemisphere, and particularly the town of Brasilia. In relation with the harmonic 33, you have to understand that the situation is really different in Brazil, where the UFO subject is absolutely not something ridiculous. Every month you have a newspaper talking about UFOs publicated for over 1 million subscribers. Oh, yes, it's interesting. I have forgotten to explain that Pascal is not in France with me, he is in Brazil. Yeah, I am in Rio de Janeiro. You are very well located and lucky because you can explain us that the information and the way people consider a UFO subject is very different. Yes, I explained this in one of my videos, that the way that the Jews consider Israel is very different from Europe. Generally, North American and South American Jews are not Zionists, they're against Israel. And in France, we think the opposite, that the Jews are all Zionists. But in Brazil and in the United States, the Zionists are the Christian churches. Same thing with the UFOs. In Brazil, we had over 10 cases documented of UFO operations, and some creatures were caught. We received a lot of information by the newspaper, television, and radio in Brazil. We had a lot of very important and serious investigations. The Brazilian Army particularly did very important and serious investigations and publicated, and we had a visit of the National American Space Agency. Some very important people of the American Army after the case of Virginia. Here in Brazil, it's not a taboo subject. People can talk about the UFOs without any problem. For example, I am working at the present time on Freemasonry, and particularly the importance of the Scottish Rite. And one of my friends gave me a book. This is a book with a description of the 33 degrees of the Scottish Rite. Everything is given, the ceremonies, rituals, the passwords, the teaching. There is nothing secret. He gave me some videos of the rituals just to help me to give the information for the French people that there is nothing satanic or something strange or something. There is no connection with crime inside of the Freemasonry. Here in Brazil, there is nothing secret. You can ask to visit a Freemasonic temple and people will give you the information. It's like visiting a church. Sometimes province people are also invited to be present for rituals. This is really different from France. The same thing in the newspapers or at the television. We have military people with a very high position going at the television or giving interviews and talking about UFO and crop circles. This is something really serious. There is nothing ridiculous. There is also very important people talking about spiritual experience they have, talking about mediums like Chico Xavier, people talking about the UFO phenomenon, people talking about relation of the Brazilian official with extraterrestrial beings and intraterrestrials. This is absolutely the opposite of the way the things are considered in Europe. Here in Brazil, link with the agrograph is not a ridiculous subject. We had some crop circles in the Paraná state in the south of Brazil. This is at the Argentinian borderline, and Santa Catarina too, another state. But it's very strange because the information you have in Brazil with internet, we can get this information in Europe. Yes, it's true. If you surf on the www, you will find information very freely and openly talking about a Virginia case with a lot of testimony, investigations, the case of Amazonia. Here near Rio, we have a special valley, and it's very usual to see some UFOs and very strange phenomena. It's really easy there to see some UFOs apparition or phenomenon. I can invite skeptical people to travel and to stay in touch with Brazilians. In fact, here, ufologists have their newspaper, and it's not something strange. There you have TV shows with serious people talking about this phenomenon. The Remy talk about this. Chico Xavier was a very important medium for the Brazilian, and he was recognized and or confirmed like national patrimony. And Chico Xavier talked about his contact with extraterrestrials and also his contact with spiritual beings and other dimensions. This is something very usual in Brazil. This is not a ridiculous subject. He talked about the different races of ETs. You can go everywhere in a restaurant or on the street and ask to the people what they think about the UFOs. It's absolutely not a ridiculous subject. The people are used to talk about it. And people talk very seriously about it. But if you do the same thing in France, people will consider you a nut. This is an interesting point of view. More deeply, I want to understand a few things about the crop circles. So what kind of information do you have? Can you share them with us? The information I have that there will be more crop circles in France, Brazil, and Canada because this is connected with Wiltshire, and there is a particular and an important message that the ETs want to give to the French people. There is a connection with the manifestation of the third Israel and the great monarch. This is clear for most of the Freemasons in Brazil that there is something important with the crop circles, and there will be more message because the humanity is now crossing a very dangerous and important state of consciousness with this program of New Order. This is a very critical period. There is a certain type of ego, a certain type of personality that will disappear if the people refuse to change their mind and to change their connection with the others and the planet. This is a new area. So now most of the people might understand that the relation we have with the others and the material subject will change in the future. We will have a new kind of social organization. We are entering the Aquarius time. And in the south, we are at the opposite side, so we are entering the lion astrologic period. So this means that we will have more domination. Usually the people ignore that if the North Hemisphere is entering the Aquarius time, at the opposite, the South Hemisphere is entering the lion period. The period of the fish was a period of healing, purification and healing. Jesus came to heal the people, to purify them, but particularly to heal them. And at the end of this astrological period, it will be the opposite. Something will be organized to confer intoxication, empoisonment, and the people will be absolutely poisoned by the authorities. This is a global intoxication by industrial chemical technology. We are poisoned. In the next period of Aquarius, it will be the opposite. It will be a time of purification for the humanity. It will be also a time of communication and a time of peace, or of collective organization, a very different time. We will initiate the new area with pollution, with some difficulties, very down on the floor. But we have spiritual friends capable to help us to realize this transition to another state of mind. But there is also a lot of very stupid people who want to dominate the others, people very conservative, and these people, they want to break this transformation of the humanity, and they try to build a new world order, a kind of global tyranny, but they have no chance. They will have no results. They will be stopped. Since the middle of the 19th century, we receive a spiritual help given by spiritual and extraterrestrial, particularly to go through the world wars. For example, the operation at Fatima was something in connection with extraterrestrials, but the Portuguese at that time were not capable to understand it. So they have interpreted the phenomenon like something linked with the Virgin Maria, but it was not. In Brazil, for example, most of the people consider that in Fatima it was not something linked with the Virgin, the mother of Jesus, because at the same time in Argentina appeared a UFO with a woman who had absolutely the same clothes that the one that was described by the three childs in Fatima in Portugal. And there in Argentina, the interpretation was not religious. And if I remember, there is a French officer who wrote a book about the case of Fatima, and he realized a very strong investigation, and his conclusion is very clear. It was not something connected with the Virgin Maria, but with extraterrestrial beings. In that time, it was difficult to explain to the people in Portugal that you have flying saucers and you have extraterrestrial beings. So it was more practical to give a religious interpretation, but the children were really clear of what really appeared to them. For example, the people there told that the sun was dancing and the rain stopped suddenly, and only the children could communicate with the ETs. So if you understand the technology we have nowadays that permit with microwave to speak with someone in a crowded place and to be only listened by the people you are targeting, you can understand what happened. According to the military here in Brazil, it is what we call now voice to school. It is technology with microwaves. You can send a message to someone, for example, in a cinema, and only the people you are targeting will listen to the voice. So you have to remember that in that time the Portuguese were experiencing a kind of spiritual crisis because it was the monarchy stopped. It was a republic. The Freemason had taken the power. So for the Portuguese people, it was a very difficult time. And the message of the Maria or the extraterrestrial was really something given to the Portuguese to inform them that it's better for them not to be involved in the First World War. And it was a way for them to inform us that our beliefs will change in the future. It's true that there is some false crop circles. Some are realized by children with the teachers because it's a school matter now. There is some artists, plasticians, some scientists. We want to realize fake things. It's a kind of strategy to make the spiritual people ridiculous. But the fake crop circle, which were realized like a hoax against Humberto Molinaro, gave us at the opposite the evidence that the scientists are not honest people, and this experience was totally fake and only realized to make someone ridiculous. It was a trap built against Humberto Molinaro, but finally the trap functioned against the scientist. When I talk around me with my friend and the people I know about the trap happened against Umberto Molinaro, finally the people realize absolutely the opposite. The people realize all the scientists are disgusting people. And if you realize what happened with this hoax, the scientists wanted to make to describe Umberto Molinaro like someone illuminated and ridiculous. But finally, it's absolutely the opposite, because the people now are focused only on one thing. The scientists were very sectary people. The information I got in 2017, that was something very important will happen in France about the crop circles, that a very important information will be given. And maybe some people of the secret services were informed too and decided to realize this hoax only to trap the believers, the crop circles believers. And my friend Jocelyn asked me to contact Umberto and the group of people around him because some people had decided to trap them. She told me that this hoax will be realized by scientists, but the people who ask for this hoax are people of the French secret services, and they want to make the believers ridiculous. All they want is to generate more discredit and to present to the public the crop circles believers and the message of the crop circles like something, like an hoax, like a trap. There is a real strategy and politic of cover-up. The message of the crop circles are very important for the humanity. This is something really important that could help the humanity to cross this time of transformation. We have to understand the crop circle. We have also to communicate with the ETs, and after this I will speak about the communication and the answer we can send to them. Before, your friend Philippe Mario, a famous teacher of sacred geometry, was invited by your channel, my friend Jocelyn told me that someone will help Umberto Molinaro to have a kind of solution to understand which kind of crop circles are the real ones and which ones are fake. And she told me that the answer will be the cube of Metatron. And finally, this is what happened. You can see that I have the three triangles, the cell of David, the cell of Israel, but this is a 2D representation of the Metatron cube. And if you are very focused on the drawing, you can see this representation in the middle, and you can see also the shape of France like second Israel. In 3D, it is the Metatron cube, the cube of Metatron, but in 2D, this is the symbol of the Jews, symbol of David, the King David. This is called also the Merkaba, and this is a very important teaching of the Kabbalah. So my friend Jocelyn asked me, like a French native speaker, to do the best to be in contact with you and to inform you and your friends of the channeling she received by the ETs. For her, it was something really important that a hoax will be realized against you, against your work, Umberto Molinaro and Philippe work, but it was not so important because you will receive all the spiritual help. And at that time, I've decided to contact you. The cube of Metatron is the key, and this is very important and interesting to see the crop circles in 3D. We have also the information that the ETs or EI, or the ITs, intraterrestrians, that some crop circles are some technique models of a way to produce free energy. Excuse me, but there is an Italian called Umberto Bodo. He had used the drawing of the crop circles to realize prototypes of free energy machine producers. Jocelyn told me that this could be retro engineering, information given by our spiritual friends, and the crop circles could be considered like someone having a tattoo. A tattoo is modifying your own energy, and it's also an information you give to the other, kind of message. Myself, I have some tattoos, and they have a deep relation with some important moment of my life or key concepts for me, and it's the same thing for the crop circles. There are messages sent written that give message to the earth and to the people. I remember that in one of your videos, Lulumineuse, your friend, the channeler, gave the information that the crop circles are capable to give an energetic information to the planet. It's a kind of thought form given inside of the harmonic 33 belt, and this generates a kind of impulsion of healing and a kind of impulsion capable to give ideas to the people, capable to understand it, to exit the present time situation and to realize that transformation of the humanity. This helps us not to be only terrestrial material beings, but also spiritual beings. We are electromagnetical beings. We share information with the others, non-conscious information. We can call these fractals, own shape, give to the other an information about our deep being. The same thing with the crop circle, like the tattoos. They are capable to give an information, but also to correct the energy of the planet. The crop circles can correct some distortions generated by the people who govern Earth, and the crop circles can protect us for some bad aspects of the technology like microwave we use on this planet. This kind of technology capable to maintain the people in fear and domination and generating more bad ideas and very low vibrations. There is a lot of people trying to break the process of evolution of the humanity. They try to reduce the population. They try to maintain us under domination, to transform us like zombies. Because they have a lot of fear, they have the fear to lose their power, they are afraid about the transformation, they're entering in the new time of the Aquarius, so they want to break the process, but it's really stupid because the transformation will be more difficult, more violent for them and for us. So finally we have this help of the extraterrestrians and intraterrestrian and spiritual beings. The New World Order is the last manifestation of a power of involution, something who maintains us in the past, in our memories, things of the previous time of the fish. So they want to limitate us with pollution, with mind control, with negative thoughts, with material things, just because they want to break the process of transformation. But in fact, it's something ridiculous because nobody can stop the time, and they will be completely blown up by the process of transformation. Whereas they try to fight. Yeah, sure. They want to try to keep the power they have. My friend Jocelyn told me many times that first the information are only vibration, energies. And slowly, those informations are falling in the reality. The same thing when I realized a video about Harry of England, Harry of Sussex, and I had information inside of the energetic field that something new will happen for him. He will experience a transformation. But it needed time for this transformation to be something material. So I'm not a prophet, I'm not a visionary. I had only the information with my friend Jocelyn and my own work that something will change for Harry. And I told it, and finally, few weeks after, that things became reality. So for my friend Jocelyn, she said to me, if you have a high spiritual level, if you are connected by the vibrations, but with the energy, with the iosphere, you will have the information before the others, and before that information will transform our reality. everything is ready all the time inside of the upper sphere. And it needs time for that information to fall down and to be something concrete in the material world. People are capable to get this information before that information appears inside of the reality, the material reality. For the crop circles, it's the same process. There is something first vibration. And that vibration modifies the structure of the field, material field, the crop, but the information is before, like a kind of vibration, and after in the real world, the material world. But that information, that vibration is transferred to the people. So when you enter in a crop circle, you have directly an information given to you. You will incorporate that energy. You can call it the energy of the return, the Christic energy, the energy of the Christ of the return, or a spiritual energy of the Aquarius energy. But in fact, with the crop circle, we have a tool, we have an instrument to receive, like an antenna, to receive information, to record that information, and to initiate a kind of transformation inside. It's a very slow process. You can call this tool and help to permit us to enter in a new kind of humanity, the period of the Aquarius. There is a lot of words, different vocabularies we can use to explain this process, but in fact it's something you must experience in your own, inside of yourself. Humanity is collectively going ahead and will stop the wars, the material preoccupations, and the crop circles are there to help us to realize this transformation. The people who try to help us with the crop circles are people with a very good mind, and they just want to help us. There are some people, human people, who are capable to realize crop circles. And they do. But what we have to understand is that they are influenced. The false crop circles realized by humans are also influenced by the spiritual being. You have an antagonism, people of the system, generating false crop circle by suggestion, but also our friend or spiritual friend give us vibration, and some people realize false crop circles, but there are influenced by the spiritual beings. They ignore it, but it's a reality. That in fact it's a current phenomenon, and it's a cultural phenomenon. You have the crop circles realized directly by our spiritual friends, but you have also humans influenced by our spiritual friends realizing crop circles. So in fact, there is no fake one. Some people are capable to receive this information like an antenna because they have more intuition, particularly the artists, and the people are inspired to realize crop circles. But in fact, it's not a false crop circle. It's only inspiration. In Buddhism, we say it's current for the beginning to the end, and the same thing for the crop circle phenomenon. If you have a crop circle coming from intra or extraterrestrials, or realized by human beings to make the crop circle ridiculous, like a hoax, but everybody receiving inspiration. So it could be a devilness inspiration, but it could be also a spiritual influence. But no matter, this is a part of the process. In every process, every phenomenon, you have a dark side and a light side. It's the same thing for the crop circles. It's a cultural movement. In the center of the phenomenon of the crop circles, you have something authentically spiritual. But at the end of the crop circle phenomenon, outside of the circle, you will have something completely fake, stupid, egotic, ridiculous, something realized by the authority to make the crop, to try to stop the message of the crop circles. But this is a very current way. This is a cultural phenomenon, and you have to understand it like something spiritual at the beginning and something very dark at the end, realized by perfect humans. The same thing with the fake crop circles. You have people who are totally inspired by our spiritual friends who are capable to realize very perfect crop circles, and on the opposite side, you have people just only capable to realize oaks or horrible crop circles, but it's not very important. It's the same energy, but this energy is very pure in the center and very dark, very distorted at the periphery. It's like you have people that could be inspired positively by the crop circles. It's absolutely evident that you have people who have a very egoic and a very negative reaction against the crop circles, and these people are capable to destroy the crop circles or to realize oaks. It's a very natural reaction. There are some people who want to give no credit and to discredit the crop circle movement, but it's not important. It's part of the process. The energy of the crop circle only make evident your deep being. If you are someone positive and spiritually inspired, or someone afraid with fears, capable to realize oaks and to be a faker. It's why they have a reaction. So the people who are authentically spiritual have that kind of reaction, and people who are authentically absolutely afraid and materialistic, they have an opposite reaction. It's absolutely evident and normal. For example, AstroGeek, it's a famous YouTuber. He realized an oaks because the subject of the crop circles and the spiritual information of the crop circle were something strange and something he was afraid. He was only afraid, and the idea to realize an oaks, a false crop circles, and to do it in front of the television to make Umberto Molinaro ridiculous. It's only the information that that guy was only afraid by the spiritual message of the crop circles. The way the false crop circle, the oaks of AstroGeek, was realized is very interesting, because he could do a crop circle of his own. But what he decided to do, as AstroGeek decided to do, is to realize an oaks, to use a lot of gimmicks of the true crop circles, only to induce Umberto Molinaro in the wrong way, to make him ridiculous. Because with the gimmicks present in the crop circle, Molinaro gave it a very good interpretation and realistic interpretation. But finally, after this, I said, oh no, it was an oaks. So finally, Umberto seemed to be ridiculous, but it was not. The intention was to ridiculize Umberto. The intention was, I take a part of one crop circle, I take the part, and I will want to generate confusion. They decided to give a lot of gimmicks just to induce a wrong interpretation. A correct interpretation, but finally to say, okay, the interpretation was correct, the same like in the past, but the crop circle was an oaks. So the way Umberto is presenting the things is false. It was a trap. Yes, it was a trap. It was funny for me with that oaks, because finally the oaks of AstroGeek gives us more information about AstroGeek than against Umberto Molinaro. The false crop circle gives us no information about the believers, but the oaks gives us more information about the fact that AstroGeek are dishonest. So we can see that people of AstroGeek, these young people who seemed honest at the beginning, they are now working for the military complex, or they are present at the television. They are people recruited by the system, so they can receive produces to realize the promotion, or the people are in touch with the secret services and they receive money. And in fact, the people are serving the huge lobbies, the military-industrial complex. I worked for the National Scientific Research Center at a very high level, like a lawyer. And I have seen a lot of contracts, and most of the things were under secret, defense secret. It was contracts between European Union, the French states, international corporations, very huge corporations like Mitsubishi, Unilever, or Sony. I have to analyze the things like a lawyer, but there were some scientific annexes, and so I had the opportunity to read them. So I were not capable to understand everything, but for the technical things, I have discovered what they are producing, and what our researchers that our researchers are really working for horrible things, capable to destroy the humanity. Because of my work of lawyer, I get access to technical subjects and to information very secret. spiritual ones, particularly about acoustic. And there is not a lot of people who were involved at this level and who had the opportunity to be informed by this kind of subjects. I was forbidden for 10 years to say nothing, but it was in 44, 45, 40, 94, 95, 96. So now I can talk about this. There are things where I can see every day in the streets and materials the police and the army use. And at that time, it was something very strange. So now I'm very conscious that our scientific researchers are not people involved in the wellness of humanity. The researchers have no morality. They're completely involved in serving the system. And the formation, the people researcher are generated is something really sad, because they use only a part of their brain. They want only people involved in mathematics, people who have no feelings, no intuition, people capable to work a very materialistic way, like robots. Everything spiritual is very strange for them. It's because of Descartes and his scientific method. Descartes, the French philosopher, did a very bad way. In the past, we have at the top the spirit, after the mind, and after the body. And in French, it's not evident in English, but in French, it changed the meaning of the word. The mind became a spirit, and the spirit became mind. So this changed absolutely the way you can read the scriptures. So he realized this inversion of spirit and mind. This is very clear in French language, like âme is an esprit. Esprit is spirit, mind is soul in France. And he changed. He talked about an eternal soul, and the spirit in French became have the same meaning that a mind in English. So this is absolutely not correct. And this is a very theoretic problem. And at the other side, he realized the method, the scientific method. And with the scientific method, you can give evidence of anything. For a long time, the scientific method told us that there is no problem with the GMO. You can eat them. So they limited the experience with 6 months. And a few years later, when we realized experience with rats and mouses on laboratories, for 1, 2, and 3 years, we have discovered that it was fake, that the GMO are giving cancer and they sterilize the mammifers. So it's absolutely possible to fake any scientific experience. A scientific experience never will do you the proof that something is true. It's fake. It's a fake method. And it's a method very useful to fake the truth. So when I say again for the GMO, so if you limit the experience with 6 months, there is innocuity of the GMO. But if you do the same experience during 3 years, the result is absolutely the opposite. So the way you realize the experience can fake the result, and they use it. Scientifically, with scientific method, you can give the demonstration of everything. Because this is the problem, is that the science is not involved in knowing the truth. The science, modern science, is involved only to make evident a mechanism and use this mechanism to generate benefit. This is something technical. Scientifically, you can give the evidence of everything. In the case of Umberto, you have absolutely an evidence of the way the scientific methods, the scientists are functioning. They realize an experience with a distortion to give the evidence of the postulate they have initiated at the beginning. So in the case of Umberto, the postulate was that the crop circles are hoax, and they have built the experience only to generate this result. This is really dishonest. What they wanted to make evident is that crop circles are something human, and the people like Umberto talking about the spirituality of the crop circles are gurus in the bad way. So they build the experience just to obtain this result and nothing else. Postulate was this is human, and people talking about the spirituality are charlatans, and they have built the experience just to have this result. From A to Z, the experience was built to give this demonstration. But this never means that they found the truth. They only given the demonstration that human beings are capable to realize crop circles. And if you realize a copy of the information of the two crop circles, you can generate the same reaction of the spiritual people. This is really dishonest. This gives the evidence that people are not searching for the truth. It's only a hoax, it's only a trap. It's a way of doing very famous and very usual. It's only the intention of breaking a process because they are afraid of the phenomenon, so they want to stop the thing at the beginning with an hoax. At the beginning, every new idea seems to be something ridiculous. And after a short time, when the people realize it's not so ridiculous, they are afraid. It's dangerous. And at the end, most of the people say, oh yes, okay, it's evident. But at the beginning, it was strange and ridiculous. After it was dangerous. And finally, it's evident for everybody. Every new idea functions that way. Crop circles are exactly the same thing. At the beginning, everybody said it's ridiculous. The people said, the newspaper said, people talking about or people who have interest for crop circles are crazy people. They're nuts. They're sympathetic, ridiculous people. But finally, when the crop circle believers increase, crop circle beliefs turned something dangerous for the authorities. So as they've decided to pay for ox and to pay secret agent or veterans to realize a cover-up of the phenomenon. So now it's global, it's spiritual, sometimes it could be completely new age, sometimes completely traditional. Some people have apparition of Maria. For example, I have someone in my family, she said to me that a crop, it's seed, and everything is connected with seed, is the Virgin Maria. So for her, she's an old lady. Crop circles are Marial apparitions. Like Fatima in Portugal. It's because it's the interpretation she has. For her, it's the Virgin Maria, and she's giving with angels and information to the human people. So unfortunately for her, the New Age people, they speak about spiritual beings or extraterrestrial, intraterrestrials. But for her, it's the Virgin Maria and angels. Like in Fatima. Some people can have an explanation with ETs and with microwaves and UFOs and other explanations. But it's not important. What is important is the vibration the crop circle generates inside of your aura. The crop circles have that power to ask about ourselves. Inside the crop circle, or looking at the crop circle, what is important is the reaction the crop circle generates inside of my home. What information back I have about my feelings, the way I think about me, the conception of myself. What is my mission inside of the universe? What the crop circle generate like information about my own process of transformation in this world. What is interesting in the crop circle revolution is the culture and what the human beings in touch with crop circles want to say to the others with other forms of intelligence inside of this culture and inside of this community generated by the crop circle. And when you think that way, you can evacuate the fact there are fake one, true one. What is important is your reaction. It's only a sociologic experience. Oh, sure. What is important is what happened around the crop circle sociologically. This is interesting. This is linked to the side of vibration and what that vibration generates.
La géométrie, c'est tout ce qui se passe avec.
When there is a crop appearing in one place, this is not for nothing. The true ones appear on the general belt of the harmonic 33. And all the authentic ones are also generated on the basis of the cube of Metatron. Or we can imagine that some people know about the harmonic 33 and the geometry of the cube of Metatron, and they inspire Philippe Mario. Well, we can imagine that Philippe Mario is realizing the crop circle since the beginning. It's what I said to one of my friends, that Philippe Mario said to crop circle creators, we'll make money and I will do the drawings, I will give you the indication of the harmonic 33 and we will do the crop circle and we will do a lot of money with this.
C'est ça, on va faire du blé en plus.
In fact, in French, when we say making money, we can also say to make crap. And so this is only a joke.
Le jeu se termine, j'ai découvert le miroir, je suis le créateur de l'échiquier illusoire. Je ne débat plus, tout cela n'est qu'une œuvre d'art, la compassion m'envahit et je mate l'échec de mes plans noirs. Peut-être que les deux guerres mondiales ne sont pas l'histoire à montrer du doigt. Peut-être que le sang qui s'étale n'est pas vraiment si appétissant que ça. Peut-être que les chemtrails me voilent, le ciel mais le soleil brille en moi. Peut-être que la 5G rend pâle, mais la peur n'existe que si l'on y croit. Le jeu se termine, j'ai découvert le miroir, je suis le créateur de l'échiquier illusoire. Je ne débat plus, tout cela n'est qu'une œuvre d'art, la compassion m'envahit et je mate l'échec de mes plans noirs.